What's up guys, Jesse here, back with another YouTube video. I know it's been a while. I've been super busy with a bunch of different commercial projects, traveling a lot for weddings, but I'm back with another video. Motorcycles. It's finally time to take a look at my Blackmagic kit. Let's go. Almost forgot my coffee. Can't do a video without having coffee. Also, pro tip, if you make a Chemex brew and it gets cold, just throw ice in it. You got iced coffee. All right, everyone has their camera built out slightly differently, but I figure I'd throw my video into the mix to see, so you guys can see what I'm working with. So here we go. We've got the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. This is a little bit different build than my first video that I put out. I've kind of did some different things to it. So basically what we've got over here is we have the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 4K, and then we have that on a small rig full cage. I decided to go with the full cage because I wanted to be able to put a mic over on the side, and it's got these little mounts right here on the top, but we'll get to that in a second. So what I have here is I have it on a small rig base plate. This is like the double one where you can do both a 1/4-20 input on the bottom as well as a 3/8 input. Makes it really solid, like it's not gonna swing around or anything. So works really well for me. And then I've got it on 12-inch carbon fiber rods. I originally got 16-inch rods and it was like super long, but I don't really need that anymore. So I had these just like lying around from an old build that I did, switched them out for the lighter rods. It feels great. It comes like right to the back of the battery plate. And it's just like a nice little compact build. Speaking of the battery plate, that's the next thing I'm gonna talk about, which big shout out to Matteo Bertoli. I'll link his profile down below. Basically after watching his video, I basically took what he recommended for the battery plate and it's been working great. What I've got here is a Camvate or Camvate or whatever, however you pronounce it, battery plate. And then attached to that is an 8-scene V-mount battery plate. The internal battery on the Pocket is not great, so it's good to have an external battery solution. And also it adds a nice little counterweight to it because you're adding all this weight to the front, adding some nice weight to the back. It's really, really helpful for that. So, and then I've got a wooden camera D-tap to 2-pin power connection. I basically just leave this plugged in all the time and it's never giving me issues. It does feel a little loose, which is kind of weird, but it hasn't failed me yet, so. Let's put a battery on this guy. So here we go, pretty easy. Just like these little bricks here, slide right into the side. And the nice thing about this solution is that it's got an extra D-tap cable. We got another cable. This will be powering our monitor. So you plug that right into the battery. So now everything's being powered off of the V-mount. You don't have to worry about switching out like Sony batteries or Canon batteries and everything. Just keeps it nice and easy. So next thing I'm gonna talk about is the mount that I chose. Originally, I went with the Canon mount because I was using Canon lenses, but now I decided to go with FD lenses. So if you ever shot film back in the day with an old AE1 camera, this is a 35mm Canon camera, it uses the mount which is called FD. This is the old Canon mount. So I figured like, hey, I like kind of the look of these like old vintage lenses. So let's give it a shot. I decided to go with the Ultra 0.71 speed booster for Canon FD lenses. Then I invested in a little collection of vintage lenses. And then I've got that attached to a wooden camera follow focus. I didn't use a follow focus for the first 3 months or so. Eventually I was gonna have to get a follow focus. And so I picked this guy up. I tried the bright tangerine one, it was a little heavy. So then I gave this one a shot. This is like around like 500 bucks or so. It's not that expensive, but this has been amazing. Man, I can't stress how important a follow focus is for just nailing those pulls and being able to follow someone walking. It's just a game changer getting a follow focus. So next thing we're gonna do, let's add the monitor. All right, so we've got a couple different pieces here. The nice thing about this cage is it actually has a NATO rail up in front. So you can just like slide, if you have a NATO top handle, you could just slide that right on. However, I always felt like it was front heavy. So I decided to add this tiny little cheese plate to the top and then add an extra NATO rail closer to the front. So when you grip in the top handle, it's nice and balanced. So let's slide this on right here. Right now it's already still pretty balanced here, but we got a lot more pieces to add. So next thing I'm gonna add is this little small rig monitor clamp. This just screws right into the front of the top handle here. Cool. And then the monitor, which is a small HD 501. This is kind of an older monitor. And this is also caged up with a small rig cage on here. So let's just attach this. Just screws right into the corner 20 screw on the bottom here. It's really nice. You can articulate it really nice and easily. It's awesome. So then now let's connect HDMI and power to this thing. So that cable that's connected to the battery right here, this is our power solution right here. Powering the monitor is a small HD LPE6 to DTAP cable. It's an expensive cable, but I've never had any issues with it. So when it comes to powering things, just buy the actual like good cable and you'll be fine. So then now let's connect our HDMI cable. So we got this little thin one from 8 here. This thing is nice and thin. Nice thing about using a cage with the monitor is you've got these little clamps here, which clamped onto the HDMI cable. So there's no like tension on it if it gets tugged or anything like that. Obviously SDI would be better because it's already got that like nice solid connection, but Pocket uses HDMI, so that's what we have to use. Clamp and whatnot, so no tension there on the HDMI cable. If you've kind of been paying attention here, I hate cable messes, so I use these little think tank, I don't remember what these are called, I'll link them below, but they're like the red cable ties. It just really helps making the rig more compact and not as like much of a cable mess. One thing I also want to point out is how I have the cables running through here. So basically what I've done is I've have another clamp on the other end of the HDMI cable clamping down on that thing, so it's not going anywhere. And then I feed the cables from the power and the HDMI through underneath the clamp and then back around, looped around, and then tied to the rods. It keeps this nice and compact. There's no cables like in the way or anything, so I can freely access anything and everything. I used to have the cables like going around here and then up here, but then that would obstruct these buttons, so I just decided to send all the cables up through this side and tie them down with cables so I can get at anything nice and easily. It's just so nice to use. So we've got our lenses. There's a couple other lenses that I'll use with this system as well. Right now we have the 35mm f2, but with the speed booster, it adds a little bit more field of view and an extra stop of light, which gets us closer to that Super 35 cinema camera look. This is the first lens that I got from the set, which is the 50mm f1.4, which is kind of more my 70mm lens equivalent. And then all these lenses are equipped with follow focus gears from followfocusgears.com. So I'll link their site down below too. And then I have the 85mm f1.8. My God, this is a difficult lens to get. It was like shipped from Japan and then it like got shipped back and then shipped again, finally got it. And this lens is so good. This is about a 120mm equivalent on the sensor. This lens, if I'm shooting concerts or stuff where you need to be like pretty far back, but you need to get super tight, but you need to be like small, this lens, oh my gosh, so good. All of these lenses, like they're all great, but like shooting concerts, this one is amazing. Like interviews or like headshots and stuff, my go-to is the 50 because you get that nice compression without being like too tight with this. For a majority of anything, the 35mm is just my go-to with a lot of that stuff. And then if I need to get just super tight, I have the Canon FD 70-210 f4, which is basically like 100mm to 300mm. So you can get as close as you need to with this thing. This is like very specific scenarios when I'll need this thing, but I've got it if I need it. So these are the lenses that I use. If you're familiar with the Canon K35s, they're a very popular set of cinema lenses. These are kind of like the stills versions of those lenses kind of before L glass. You get this really nice vintage kind of soft look from them while still retaining a lot of detail, which is everything that I want out of lenses. I shot on a Sigma 18-35 zoom lens for a while, which is great for a nice clean look, but I like a bit of character to my glass, and the Canon FD lenses are working out great for me. Next little bit, I'll usually throw I have this little like kind of step up little donut ring here, and I'll throw like some diffusion filters and then an ND filter. I'm using it right now, my XD3 to expose for me right now. So, but imagine that I've like screwed that on there. But when I'm not using screw-on filters, I'll use a matte box. And for that, I have this little guy. So this is the Bright Tangerine Misfit Atom with all the little accessories to add to it to make it like a full matte box, and that just slides right on here, and then the little threaded donut whatever thing that covers up the thing that on the lens is there too. So this thing is so nice and lightweight. It's a lot of rubber to it too, so it's like basically meant to be like thrown on a gimbal, but I use it as my main matte box. And I don't own any filters. I usually just like rent filters when I'm shooting gigs. This kind of acts as like a lens hood for your glass, because these vintage lenses flare up like crazy. And then the last little bit that I have is the this little extender for a microphone. I'm using it right now, but normally Rode VideoMic Pro Plus would just slide right into here, and for like good scratch audio if I ever need to get some scratch audio. So to recap, basically my build is the Pocket 4K with the full cage, small rig like cheese plate, top handle, small HD 501, and the cage on there. I have it on 12-inch carbon fiber rods with the base plate, and then the V-mount solution on the back here. Canon FD lens set with the wooden camera follow focus, and the Bright Tangerine Misfit Atom matte box. That's pretty much it. I do want to show you one more piece that I love to use, and that is the EasyRig Mini Max. All right, so here's the EasyRig Mini Max. Basically, it is a rig that you kind of wear the camera almost like a backpack, sort of. You just kind of clip it on here and whatnot, and then this little cable comes down, just grips it right on the top handle, and lifts the whole camera up on its own. All of the weight is being distributed right to my hips so that I can just look down at the monitor and shoot like this. This is my preferred way of shooting. I shoot a lot of my stuff handheld, so being able to shoot it on the EasyRig is just wonderful. So this is my mostly solution. I kind of mostly shoot with like one hand on the back of the battery and then one hand on the follow focus right here. Looking down at the monitor like so, and it works really, really well for a majority of my stuff. I tend to not use the EasyRig on the really tight lenses, since there is still a bit of movement with this thing. It is not like a gimbal and doesn't completely stabilize it. It keeps more of that floaty motion in there. So I tend to use the EasyRig mostly with the 50 and the 35, sometimes with the 85 if it's like kind of more like a high energy shoot, but if it needs to be more locked off, I'll throw it on a tripod with these like tighter lenses. But 90% of the time, this is what I'm shooting with. So this is mostly my setup, guys. Oh, also forgot to mention one more thing. What do I shoot on? You notice I don't have a Samsung T5 on here. So you're like, what the hell does the guy shoot on? I shoot on CFast cards. I'll pop out one of those guys here. I can't believe I forgot to mention what I shoot on. I have two 256 Angel Bird CFast cards, and they just pop right into here like normal cards. Yeah, they work so flawlessly. They're amazing. I know a lot of people use the SSD on the camera, but I want to cut down as many peripherals as I can and use it like a high-end cinema camera, basically treating this thing like a baby red, like a Alexa Mini or something. So I decided to just shoot on traditional cards. I love it. I can pop it into an Ursa Mini or an Alexa whenever I have those like really big high-end jobs and shoot on my own media. It's just how I like to work. So it's not for everyone, but this is kind of how I like to go about it. So hope you guys like this video, my breakdown of my camera rig. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll try to link everything I mentioned down below. Feel free to check out all those links. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Ring that bell icon for more videos coming your way. Till next time. Cheers.